We are now going to do a session talking about, so I told you how to make the most out of without these social media platforms without paying, specifically Facebook and Twitter. Now we're going to have a look at what if we want to pay. And I want this to be a really important statement, which is you should actually always pay a little bit. If you're an artist and you've got an album coming out, you're going on tour, I really, 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 really recommend that you do spend some money in advertising. Not a lot, but some, right? Because you don't always have something exciting to say. So when you do have something exciting to say, you should definitely be spending some money about it, behind it, and I'll show you how and when and what and how much. So we're going to cover how we set up the ads, and then we're going to talk about comparing which types of platforms offer you different types of products in terms of advertising, and then we're going to talk about putting it all together. Before I get started, there's always 2 slides trying to show you stats and graphs, because people need those to take me seriously. So here's a graph. Advertising online is growing, and it's going to keep growing, so now you know. And also, who are the big players? So the big players in advertising are Google, Facebook, and to some extent Twitter. Anyone know who Alibaba and Baidu are? Anyone? Chinese companies? That's what you said? Yeah, it's Chinese companies. So they're kind of the big Chinese companies that are competing, because China doesn't have Facebook or Google. But anyway, the big dogs are Facebook, Google, and Twitter, which are the ones we're going to talk about today, how to use them for marketing. And it's interesting to know that although Google's kind of very much dominant in total, on mobile specifically, Facebook is doing really, really well. So Facebook has 12, 13, 14, 15% on mobile. So it's really punching its weight on mobile, and so is Twitter. It's doing much better on mobile than it is on desktop. So even though it looks like this right now, I think Facebook and Twitter will come in a lot bigger when mobile picks up even more. So that's some of the background. So let's get into setting up adverts and advertise. So advertising is a big section, so I could do like 4 hours on this, but I have 1 hour. So I'm going to try split it up in the best way that I can think of. So I'm going to first talk you through all the different types of ads across the platform. So what type of ads you can place on Google AdWords, Facebook, and Twitter. So just so you get an idea of all the different types of ads. Then I'm going to talk about how do you place them, how do you target, how much money do you spend, and then we're going to put that all together and say, what do you use for which parts of your campaign? So what do you use when you're doing an album, when you're doing a tour, etc., etc. There is quite a lot to cover here. How many of you have placed ads on Google AdWords before? How many of you have placed ads on Facebook before? Okay, and then Twitter? Oh, wow, okay. So most of you would have done the basics, which is great. So I'm not going to do complete basics, but for those of you who've never placed an ad, just stick around and stay with me. If you get lost, put your hand up and ask questions. So let's start with the basics. So Google AdWords, Facebook, and Twitter are all very, very easy to place advertising. They have the self-serve platform, which means anyone with a user account and a credit card can place advertising. So all you need for Google AdWords is, again, a Gmail account and a credit card. On Facebook, you just need a user account and a credit card. And actually on Facebook, there's 3 ways you can place advertising. You can either use the self-serve platform, which is just when you click on the right-hand side and say create ad. That's what you should be doing. Or when you get more advanced, you start using Power Editor, which is the next step. So I would normally create in the create ad section and then use Power Editor later to do some advanced features. So that's the order in which you should be doing it. And then there's also these 2 little nasty buttons, boost, post, and promote page. You've seen those. They've been lying around trying to lure you into giving you Facebook money. Long story short, don't ever press on them, please. Okay, don't ever do either of those. They're a shortcut to make it very easy to give money to Facebook, but they are not efficient, so don't use them. And then Twitter is easy. You go to the Twitter ad section and you just use their normal platform as well. Now, Each of them have different types of ads that you can place. Instead of talking you through them, I'm going to show you them and explain to you when you use which one. So let's start with Google. So Google AdWords, obviously their biggest platform of advertising is search. So when you type in, there's advertising popping up. Now for music, I just don't think this is so exciting or interesting, specifically for artists. You might disagree for festivals or maybe for a big event, but it's not like people are typing in pop music and then looking for the name that's going to pop out, right? It's just not how advertising and music works. So I would kind of chill out about search, but search is important to understand where Google advertising came from. So it's all based on keywords. So keywords is what makes those ads pop up. And in general, you want to know what type of keywords are important around advertising if you want to use Google AdWords, because you want to use the keyword search tool, which is in the Google AdWords platform, to find high volume keywords, so keywords that have a lot of searches around your artist, but that have low competition, which means they're cheap, so you don't have to pay a lot of money. So you can use that tool to figure that out. So they'll start to show you, okay, these ones are high, but this is the competition, and you know more or less how much you're paying for them. Now, sorry, I don't know why I have a Boots advert. I need to change this example. But anyway, so if you are trying to do it on display, so that's the first type of advertising you have, search placement, which is not very exciting. Then you also have display network, so display placement, which means you can place your advertising across millions of websites across the internet that have a relationship with Google. So what Google does is it has a partnership with these ads. The ads say, here's some space on my website. The website says, here's some space on my website, and then they rent that space out and place some ads on it. And there you can say, I want to be placed on all types of websites that have the keyword pop music on it, or that have the keyword Katy Perry on it, or that have the keyword Pitchfork on it, or whatever it might be. Or you can say, I want to be specifically on this sub-website, or I want to be on I can be on any website, but I want to be on places where people have in the history searched for music, that is this type of music, whatever it might be. So that's how you place on display, and that might make sense when you're just trying to get eyes, when you're trying to get people to be aware that your album's coming out or whatever it might be. So that's something you can do. The sexiest thing for me when it comes to Google AdWords is really the relationship it has with YouTube, of course. So you want to be placing ads either in stream, so you're placing one of those skippable ads. You can't place a non-skippable ad here, by the way. You have to go through a partnership. So here you'd place your skippable ad where you might say, okay, my album's coming out. I've got the album teaser we talked about, and I want to place them on top of YouTube videos. You could place them on top of other people who have similar music to you, or you could place them based on people who watched your videos in the past, or you could also place them on videos that are similar to yours, or people who listen to pop music, whatever it might be. So there's quite a lot of variation here, and that's quite a good place to start. Or you can tell Google, I want to be on the right-hand side when people are watching a video, or at the top when they're specifically searching for something. So those are all of the ways that you can place advertising on Google AdWords, and we'll talk about when we use which one. Now let's talk about Facebook next. What does Facebook offer? So Facebook changed from type of ad to goals, so it's all goal-oriented. What are you trying to get? And here we have a whole bunch of different types, but you're only going to use 2 or 3 of them really, realistically, so don't worry too much about all of them. Page post engagement, when do you use this? So page post engagement is when you do a post, and then you see like, only 20% of my people who actually like my page saw this, and I want more people to see it because it's a really important post, so you decide to spend some money behind it. Now that does make sense. If you've got an album coming out and you say, buy my album now, and no one cares because no one's buying, but you really want people to see it because maybe they're sitting in Germany, and in Germany they still buy CDs, then what you might want to do is actually push that out, right? So you say, I like the post as it is, and I want to use it to reach more people who like my page, and you can be more specific than that. So you could say girls in Germany, 18 to 25, who like shoes, who are speaking Chinese, and you push it out to them specifically, right? So that's what page post engagement is. It's a post you've already done, and you push it out to more people, either people who like your page or people who don't like your page. Now be careful here. If you're going to push it to people who don't like your page, then be very wary of the language in the post. Because do you speak to people who've never heard of your artist the same way as people who like your page? Bless you. No, right? You wouldn't tell someone who's never heard of your band, buy my album. That's just rude, right? That's like making out with someone when you meet them, right? You go through, hello, how are you? What's your favorite book first, right? Like there's some steps to be had, right? So you need to kind of get there as well. So if you're doing a page post engagement, you really need to watch out that you're not speaking in a fan lingo where people don't care yet, right? They're still warming up to you, deciding whether they want you in their playlist or not, right? So just be really careful. Normally, I only use this when I'm trying to push it out to my fans, my already existing fans. And I want to make sure they see in the post. Or you can do a click to website or website conversion. Now, this is what we're talking about when we want to do it to people who don't like my page. That's what I normally do when I'm trying to get new fans. So if I'm trying to get new fans, then it's fine that they don't like my page because I can write this in whatever language I want, in a very non-fan language, because it's not going to appear on my page, right? This one, it has to be on your page. This one, it looks like it's on your page in the news feed, but it's not, right? You just create it in the advertising section, and then it's going to get pushed out to people's news feed, but it won't ever sit on your page. So they call this a dog post sometimes, because it looks like a post, but it's never on your page. Now, you definitely want to use this when you're trying to get new fans out. So here, what you want to do is, like, if you've got a new song coming out, that's a great way of getting new fans, right? We'll talk about, that's probably more video one, but theoretically you could do it here as well. So you could make sure you've got a new song coming out, you want to push it out, you want people to watch the YouTube video, because that's how you're going to get people to like you, if they know your music, if they heard your music and they watch the video at the same time. So that's a great way of doing it. Website conversion is when you can actually track how many people are clicking on that button and then doing what you ask them to do. So if you ask them to buy something from your shop, you can actually, if you say website conversion, Facebook will say, cool, here's a piece of code. You take the piece of code and you stick it into the last page that the action represents. So let's say you're trying to get people to buy tickets on your website. You stick the piece of code in the page that says, thank you for buying the tickets. Or if you're trying to get them to sign up to a mailing list, you stick them in this page that says, thank you for signing up to the mailing list. And then that will actually tell Facebook how many people clicked on it and then got to that page. So you can calculate how well your advertising is doing. So you know, I spent $100 on that ad and I got 5 people to sign up to my mailing list, probably not worth it. But if I got 1 million, then maybe that is worth it, right? So you want to figure out how well you're doing. So that is a possibility. But you have to own the last page, or you have to have access to the last page. So you can't stick it on an iTunes page, right? Because you can't call up iTunes and say stick some code on your page. So that's a way of doing website conversion. Page likes I don't like, but sometimes they are useful. Here's my problem with them. Page likes are like, all you say is like push out a picture and then say sign up to it or whatever it might be. It just is not very sexy for me, because if I don't know you, a picture and your name is not really gonna help me, right? Because we're selling music here, we're selling songs, right? Not like a picture of how cool you look. Yeah, it does actually work. You do get a lot of page likes if you do a page like ad, so the results are good, but these people are just going to forget about you and never engage with your content again, right? Because let's be realistic here. Although this is social media, we're not after Facebook likes. We're after real fans who know your song, who will go to your gig, who will put you on their playlist, who will listen to you, right? Pushing out your pretty picture of you, maybe, yeah, you got the girl to look really hot, so you'll like it, whatever, but then you'll forget, right? So you really need to make sure that you're not doing this stuff if you can avoid it. I would rather push out a new music video or a piece of song than to just push out a picture where people will forget. Now, the only time you can do this is if you've got an album that people know about that hasn't been online and is now coming back and is going to go on social media. So no one needs to be told who Bob Dylan is. Like, let's pretend Bob Dylan didn't ever have a Facebook page. He comes on Facebook. He can push this out because people know who they are when they like his page, right? So in that case, that's a good example. Otherwise, you don't really do this, in my opinion. App installation and app engagement, I'm not going to spend too much time on. They are very good at, if you are working with apps, I don't really like apps for artists, so, but if you are going to do it for maybe your maybe you've got a music company that uses apps, then they are really good at either downloading app, getting people to download them, or getting them to engage with it. It does work very nicely, so you can use that. Then there's event responses, which, by the way, they're not right-hand column only. Sorry, that's now also in the news feed. I don't like them. I don't know. How many promoters in the room? Do you guys like this? I always think that pushing out ticket links is better, in my opinion. Like, push out a ticket link, a click to a website that's a ticket link, and get people to actually buy the ticket rather than say they'll go on Facebook. The only time when you might want to do this is if you've got a free event, right? If you don't have any tickets to sell, then you might actually want to push this out, because people have told me that having more people attending on Facebook does make it look popular, which might increase the chances of people going. So yes, free event, do this. Non-free event, I would push out tickets personally, or I would do a combination of both. Now, with Facebook offer claims, this is a fun one. This one's hardly ever used, but I really like it, and this is why. This is a way that you can create an offer so that when people click on the Get Offer button, they will get an email sent to the email that they sign up to Facebook with that gives them the offer. So use design, you say 10% off my merch, here's the code. When they click on Get Offer, they get an email sent to them saying, here's the code. Now, this is not, first of all, I think this is fun because not a lot of people use it, so you should test it out. But the reason why I like this is because it really speaks fundamentally to how social media and mobile works, right? When do we use Facebook? All the time. We're like obsessed. We've got a minute. The friend goes to the bathroom. You're at a restaurant. You're checking it because you can't be alone. The bus is coming. You can see it coming. You're checking it because you can't be alone. We're checking social media all the time. If I see while the bus is arriving that I can get 10% off a web shop, I'm just going to forget about it. I ain't going to buy it and put the code in the 10 seconds that I got. So getting things that are time-consuming out on Facebook is not great. They do have a new save button. I don't think a lot of people are using it, in my personal opinion. Maybe some people are. But most of the time, if it's not instantaneous and I can't like, comment, or share, I ain't going to do it, right? So it's much more exciting to push out promotional things or things that require a lot of time to people's emails, because emails we feel comfortable with. We save them, we flag them, we wait till we're in our desktop, and then we buy them there. Right? So you've got to think about whatever I'm trying to communicate, is it fine in the platform that I'm pushing it on? Big, time-intensive things will not work very well on Facebook unless you're talking super fans who will save it later or save the page and do it. But on the average, you're much better doing an email or offer claim. Now, the new hot ad type, video ads. Of course, do you think they just created native videos for your sake of getting more reach? Haha, no. Obviously, for advertising. So native videos in advertising do very well as well. So this is really where you should be spending a lot of time behind. So I used to tell people, do click to a website, do promotional posts. Now I'm going to spend most of the time saying you should try out video ads. You should definitely be doing this. So again, if you've got a hot new video, you promote it out to either people who like your page or people who don't like your page. And you can change the text here, so it doesn't matter what language it is, and you push this out to try and get more people to like your page or like your band or go to your gig or know that the album is coming out, whatever it might be. Promotional video ads are very, very, very powerful, and they're very cheap still, so definitely worth trying out. The right-hand column is this dreaded place. They doubled it in size to try and improve the click-through rate. I still think it sucks, so don't use it. Really. I mean, I could be more politically correct, but I'm not. Let's do Twitter. So let's talk. So that's all of the different types you can do on Facebook. Let's talk about Twitter. By the way, I am going to bring this all together and show you when you use what, in case you're wondering. So Twitter is very easy to explain because it is actually very similar to Facebook. They used to be different, but they copied the system now. So whatever works on Facebook is kind of similar on Twitter with a few exceptions. So followers is kind of like a page like. So you can tweet and say and get people to follow you. This is not very different to a promoter tweet because on Twitter you only have 140 characters. So you still have 140 characters. So there isn't much of a difference. The only difference is that you could pop up on those suggested people to follow. That's the big difference. I would say you could kind of use this, but I would more do a promotional tweet myself. So kind of like a page like, not as bad, but kind of like the same. Website clicks and conversions. Now, here's where we get to cards, and I'm going to talk about cards in an entire new section, but this is very important that you are doing this if you're going to push people out to a third-party website. So you can create these cards that take up a lot more space whenever you're creating a click-to website. So they'll automatically suggest that you create a card. Now, what is a card? It's the ability to add a picture and a call to action and a little description plus 140 characters. So it's really quite powerful, and that's great because links look crap on Twitter, right? Links look great on Facebook. They have a nice little preview and stuff, and on Twitter, blue link, no one cares, right? So if you are going to push people out to your website or to buy something or to an external party, you have to be doing these click to websites using a Twitter card, and you can actually create Twitter cards for free. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. The next one is tweet engagement. Here, as I said, this is kind of like pushing out a promotional post. The same thing, you take a tweet that's existing or not existing, and then you push it out to people who follow or don't follow you, but it makes sense for people who don't follow you. So you can push that out to get more followers or to get your message out. And then the same thing with apps. You can create an app card that's similar to a click-to-website card where you can get people to download your app or to engage with your app if they have it already downloaded. Now, this is a nice card. It's called a Twitter lead generation card. This is if you're trying to get people's email addresses. Now, it's kind of like Facebook promotion offer, but it's slightly different. With the Facebook offer, Facebook emails the person, but it doesn't give you the email address. So you get in someone's inbox, but you don't get their email address. Here, what you do is you actually get people to give you their email address. So you tell them, sign up now. And beneath that, it will show their email address, and then that email address will be sent to you in an Excel sheet directly with one click of a button. No one wants to type out at gmail.com on their phone, right? They don't have time for it. This is very easy. They just click a button, you get their email address all in an Excel sheet. So it's a great way of getting email addresses. Email addresses are not dead. They are very much alive and important and interesting and exciting, and I will talk more about them now. Please don't underestimate emails. Then you can also pay to be a promoter trend. It costs something like $50,000 a day. So next slide. Promoted videos are kind of like the same as we saw on Facebook, so you can actually push out a video. Again, same thing, native video. Interesting. This is actually not public yet. This is only pushed out to some partners, but of course it will be rolled out very soon. And when it does get rolled out, you should play around with them because just like native video, these are good, they're cheap, and they do very well. If you haven't noticed, video has exploded. So if you haven't been, this is why we need to be shifting all of our. The thing is that the hardware caught up with the ability of what people wanted. Like we had a lot of pictures because we couldn't handle videos on our phones. Now we all have 4G or Wi-Fi or wherever it is, so we can handle short-form video, and that's why it's very hot at the moment. Now, Twitch is actually interesting that it's pushing out its ability to place advertising not just on Twitter, but in other parties as well. So the first partner it's done this with is Flipboard, which is a very nice app that kind of consolidates all of your social media in one place. It's not so important that it is Flipboard, but it's important that they're going to do this. So they're going to push out the ability to place tweets, promoted tweets across third-party apps more and more as time goes by. And very interestingly enough, they're apparently partnering back up with Google. I didn't know this, but apparently Google for some time used to show tweets if you search. I never saw them myself, but apparently they did. And they are now talking about redoing that partnership. So you might actually see tweets pop up as you search. So that will become very exciting if they allow you to pay for those promoted tweets as well. So have a look at that when that comes out. Oh, can you? Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Okay, so they have started rolling it out. I knew that they had, but I hadn't seen it myself. Then there's this this is not so exciting, but 2 seconds. If people put in their credit cards, you can give them a discount, which will automatically be deducted. If they click on Get Offer, the next time they use the credit card to buy something, that discount will come off without them having to remember the code, but it's a bit, I mean, you could, but not really, because people don't want to give Twitter their credit card. Now, let's put that all together. Let's see what's going on, who's good for what. So these are all the types of ads that you can create. I've kind of explained some of them, when you use them, where, and then let's talk about how you actually decide which platform to use. Now, the thing about deciding which platform to use is understanding what information they have. Because the more information they have on your user, the better the advertising works. So what type of information do these platforms have? So Google knows everything you do on Google, what you search for, what you browse, where you've been, which pages you go to, what videos you've watched. Now, it does this whether you're logged in or not. If you're logged in, it can do it across device. So if you're on your Gmail account, which most of you would be, it can track you whether you're on your work phone, your desktop at work, your home one, or on your phone. If you're not, it's just going to remember that for that little place until you delete the browsing history. So it's got quite a lot of information about you, and it can kind of guess your age and gender and demographic based on your search history, although it's not sure. Facebook ads, Facebook knows way too much about you. I've just given up. I'm like, take my data, just take it, it's done. Like, when you work in advertising, you just realize it's gone. It's like, okay. So they have all your personal profile, but they also have the pages you like, but more importantly, they track everything that you click, like, comment, share on. So you don't need to like Beyonce's page for them to know you're a Beyonce fan. You just need to share one of her videos or like someone who shared her video or anything like that, right? So they classify you as, whatever it might be, 25 to 35 female who likes Beyonce shoes and acid jazz. I don't know. So that's how they kind of would create you, and then that's how they use you in advertising. And it's the same thing with Twitter. They have less information on personal profiles, so they don't know your age and gender, but they guess it. And then they also know who you follow, but also what you tweet about and what you interact with. And based on all of this information that they have, we can use targeting when we place our ads. So first we choose what type of ad we want. Then we design it, make sure it looks really good. And then we do the targeting. We say, who do we want to see the ad? Now, that is the most important part of the process. Targeting is what makes digital advertising so powerful. Because back in the day, we put a billboard up and we'd be like, cool, people are going to see it. Who saw it, how many people, what they like, whether it was the right demographic, we didn't know. Now we can say, I have the brand new, just look alike Beyonce, sound like Beyonce. Guess what? I'm going to show it to everybody who likes Beyonce. But even more queer than that, like I have, I don't know, some tiny little band, like, I don't know, How to Dress, well, it's not tiny, but niche. Like I have like an R&B electronic or How to Dress Well type. I can show it to people who like that. That is so powerful. What did we do in the old days? Oh, let's put them in a music magazine because people like music. Like, come on, like everyone likes music. What is that? Oh, a rock magazine. Not all rock is the same, right? The amount of targeting we can do these days means that advertising online is so precise and so effective. The other thing that's really cool is we work in music. Do we realize how cool that is when it comes to social media? Right? We are like, this whole digital thing, it's making my job difficult. There's so much content that people want. Guys, people tell you what they like on social media. That is amazing. People talk about their musical taste on social media. They don't tell you what type of toilet paper they use. So the toilet paper brands, they can't target that stuff. We can, right? You don't know if they're a dishwasher type or a hand cleaning type. We know what type of music they like. We're really lucky in the music industry because people sign up to social media to hear our news. If we don't suck, we get good reach. If we're not lazy and just put the album cover 6 times, we would actually do pretty well. And also, we know information about them. So let's actually get our act together and use this stuff because we actually are in a very fortunate position in social media. So how do you target? So this looks a little bit scary, but I promise you it's not. So keywords is really big in Google. I talked about it. It's not necessary, but you can use keyword targeting. So based on what people are searching for, or based on keywords that appear on sites, we talked about this. Interests, topics, and categories is the most basic and important one. So I talked about it already. You have a new artist, who you're going to target people who sound similar to them, who like or interested or have searched or watched or been on the website of artists that sound very similar to them. Likes and follows is possible as well on Facebook and to some extent on Twitter. So you can say, I want to target people who follow Britney Spears, or I want to to target people who like Britney Spears. Now, you can only do the likes if you're actually on Facebook, if you are an admin of both pages. So if you don't have admin of both pages, you can't target people who like the page, but you can target people who are interested in the artist. They're two separate things. More importantly, okay, of course, there's age and gender and demographic. You're going to be smart about this. If you know most of your fans are not sitting in Japan, then don't target Japan, right? So you're going to start with Sweden and then go out to the places that you're getting more and more popular in. When you're targeting, guys, think about tours. You don't need to have a fan in each country. You want to have lots of fans in little groups of places, right? Just think about that when you're marketing. How is your expansion plan? Having 3 fans per city is going to suck when you tour, right? So just remember there's big pockets of fans. That's much more powerful than loads of scattered fans all over the place. It also makes it easier to market to. Now, mobile OS and Wi-Fi sounds like the least sexy one, but they are the most important one in the graph. Now, this is the part where I get very upset. Now, Sweden, I can kind of, like, you guys, I give you, you're fine. You're kind of cool. But, because you kind of got streaming, we're still behind in most countries. But the thing that blows my mind is how attached the music industry is married to, like, iTunes links. And then we pay money to push out iTunes links to mobile phones. Now, what did I say at the beginning? How many of the population have Android phones? 80%. So 80% of the people that we're paying to reach click on the link and get an error message. That blows my mind. Why are we doing this? And you think that this is happening once in a while. This is happening all the time. So first things first. When you're giving out links, does it work on every mobile phone? Does it work on desktop? Does it work on mobile? Do I need to give one link for desktop, one link for different mobiles? If you wanted to, you could target an iPhone 5 on iOS 7 on Wi-Fi that's on a specific carrier if you wanted to. Those are the possibilities that you have in targeting. Use some of them. Now, Wi-Fi. Now, I know Sweden, you guys have like internet like it's water, like this thing is just flowing, right? In the rest of the world, this is not the case. Even in the UK, if you give me a music video that I need to watch on my phone and I'm not on Wi-Fi, I probably am not going to watch it because that's going to kill my data plan, right? So if you're pushing out music videos, maybe you should only be pushing it out to people who are connected to Wi-Fi. Because if it's too big, I ain't going to watch it on my phone. So be careful with stuff like that. Now, the most important one is actually streaming. How do you get the right link to the right streaming platform? And that I'm going to talk about in a second. You can't do that in these platforms, but you can do it using a new tool I found, which I'll talk to you about a bit later. So that's some of the targeting you've got. Now you've decided, you've created this beautiful ad, you targeted it correctly, and now we're going to pay for it. So how do we pay for it? Well, we either pay cost per click or cost per impressions. Those are the big differences. So either you pay for every time someone clicks on it, or you pay every time 1,000 people see it. So, by the way, for those of you who've never done advertising, you decide how much you spend. So you tell Facebook, Twitter, and Google, I want to spend £10 a day, or £5, or 20, whatever it might be. Please start small. And there's no such thing as too small. Like £5, £10 is fine, at times by 10 or 12 for whatever the Swedish equivalent is. And you'll be fine with that. Just start small, learn how you do it, and then increase it. I promise you don't need to have a lot of money. If you've got 10,000 likes and you're spending more than 10, 20, 30 pounds a day, you're spending too much, right? Because you've overspending. Just build it up slowly. And most of the time you want to be doing cost per click. So you pay every time someone actually clicks on it. Now some people say to me, haha, I'm so smart. I'm going to do cost per click, but I'm not actually going to have anything to click on, so I will never pay, because no one will ever click. Guys, that's not going to work. If no one clicks on it, then Facebook's going to be like, this is a terrible ad, I'm not showing it to anybody. So don't try outsmart the system, right? And then cost per acquisition or conversion tracking is the one I talked about, where Facebook can actually track whether people are going through to the end page and signing up or paying. You can actually only pay if someone goes to the end page and says, thank you for signing up. Now, obviously, that's more expensive than cost per click, but you might want to try it out and see which one works out. Cost per follow and engagements, obviously, on Twitter. Cost per view is very important now when it comes to the new video ads. And then don't confuse this with click-through rates. A lot of people say, where is the click-through rate? That's what the results, right? So when you've got the ad gone live, you check the click-through rate and you see which one is doing well. Now, this is so important. With digital advertising, you get feedback live. So please, can you actually read that feedback, right? So you place the ad, it tells you whether it's doing well or not. Now, here's another thing that I hate. How many of you, when you place advertising, how many ads do you place? How many of you just place one ad at a time? One ad at a time? Okay, 2 ads at a time. People are shy. They're not putting their hands up because they know I'm going to shout at somebody. You didn't put your hands up, but I know you. There are loads of you in this room that are putting up one ad at a time. You know you are doing it. You are. You cannot do that, please. When you're placing ads, you have to place minimum 2 ads at the same time. You should be placing like 3 or 4 or 5, but let's start with 2. Because you need to A/B test everything, because you don't know what works, I don't know what works, I'm making it up as I go along, right? So you have to check, did it work when I targeted people who sounded like them? Should it have been this geography? Should I have written it in a different language? You have to try all this different targeting. I'm going to show you some really advanced targeting in a minute, but you should be testing it all out, and then you look at your click-through rate, and then you see which one is doing well. Hold on, that one's got a click-through rate of 20%, this one's got a click-through rate of 1%. Let me kill that one works better. That's the only way you learn. You don't know what's good or bad results. You only know when you test it against yourself. So always have at least 2 ads. Maybe one looks different, one has a different call to action, or one has a different targeting group, or one has a different geography, or one has a different time, or whatever it might be. But always place more than 1 ad. That is the only way you're going to learn. Next thing, how many of you place ads on Facebook or on Twitter? Then all of you do Twitter advertising. Let's do Facebook. When you place an ad, how many of you place an ad that lasts 1 day? 2 days? Be honest, people. 3 days? 4 days? A week? More than a week? I'm going to kill all of you. Okay, so you cannot, Facebook changes every day. If your ad is sitting in my newsfeed the whole week, I'm going to hate you by the end of the week. I will not go to your show just to spite you, right? You cannot, you have to act like the environment you're in, right? If you're on Facebook, you got to change the picture. You got to change the call to action. You got to change the ad. Minimum, maximum I want 2 days, maybe 3 if you're really lazy, right? If it stays more than 3 days, you're dead to me, right? You're gone. Please, guys, it's the same thing on Twitter. You can see how many minutes it was tweeted on. It's like 1 minute, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 days. I'm like, what's going on here, right? You have to adapt to the thing. So change your ads. You can have one that just changes so that every day you have a different picture or whatever it might be. Now, if you don't believe me with all of this, I'm so happy that Facebook's actually done this, but they've made your score public. They can tell you how bad you are at advertising. Because people didn't believe me before, and now I have proof. So the point here is that it's a new thing called a relevance score. Next to your click-through rate, after a while, you'll get a relevance score that tells you how well your ad is doing. 10 out of 10 is the best one. So obviously, you can figure out the rest. The point here is that this is a great way of figuring out, because click-through rate's quite good, but it's not perfect. This is much better than click-through rate. It gives you an minute-by-minute updated score. The minute the score goes below 8 or 7, kill the ad, you're annoying people, right? And place a new one. So please watch those things, and that's how you learn which one's doing better than the other, right? It's a really great thing. Now, another thing to note is that although Facebook is the only one that's made it public, every single advertising platform has a relevance score internally for you. And the more you suck, the more expensive it gets to advertise. They keep a quality score. They say, oh, you're always bugging people with toilet paper. You got to pay a lot of money for that, right? They give you a quality score, and the more your ad looks bad, the more they charge you for it. So you really need to think about how good your ad is. If you wouldn't click on it, don't place it. It's not worth spending the money. Now let's talk about advanced advertising. So first of all, we're going to talk about retargeting. How many of you know what retargeting is or have heard of retargeting? Okay, for those of you who haven't got your hands up, I'm sure you've all experienced it. This is what it looks like. You have a weak moment, you go to a shoes store, you're thinking, should I buy the shoes, shouldn't I buy the shoes? You decide, no, I spent my shoe allowance for the week. So you go onto Facebook and the shoes follow you around, right? You've all done that, right? That's retargeting. That's kind of how it works from a user perspective. How does it work from a advertising perspective? So retargeting is amazing. Now, it works really well for music because although sometimes it can get quite annoying when the shoes follow you around for a month and you're like, either I bought the shoes or I really didn't want the shoes. But with music, it kind of works very well because if my own artist that I like is reminding me that they've got a new album out, I'm actually quite happy. If they're reminding me that they're going on tour near me, I kind of think that's cool because I really wanted to know and Songkick forgot to tell me, right? So retargeting in music most of the time is not so annoying if you don't abuse it. So retargeting is a very, very positive thing, specifically for music. So how does it work? So we can target people, we can tag them, we can follow them around the internet. And the way it works is we place a cookie in their browser. Now, not themselves, not their computer, the browser, the internet browser, which of course you can or cannot delete. And if you are logged in to Gmail, you can do it across desktop and mobile. Now, very important to note, something that I didn't actually know for a long time, is that iOS does not allow cookies. So it doesn't work on iOS. It only works on desktops and Android phones. So that's a big watch out. Don't try to do retargeting things, targeting iOS, because it's not going to work. Now, those cookies that are placed by a pixel, so the pixel is the code, the cookie is what's placed on your browser, it's placed there by by an advertising platform. They're the ones who give you the pixel to place the cookie. So it can either be Facebook or Twitter or a third-party website, and they eat the cookies. They're the cookie monster, and then from those cookies, they give you advertising. So they're the ones who say, okay, you visited my website, I'm going to show you an ad on Facebook or on Twitter or on Google. Now, how can you retarget? Now, this is where it gets interesting, because most people only know about retargeting based on the website that you've been to. But that's not very exciting for music, because in music, we don't actually go a lot to artists' websites, right? How often do you visit a website for an artist? What you really tend to do is watch YouTube videos or click on links or emails to some extent. You can actually retarget based on YouTube, and links and emails is you need to use a third-party advertising partnership. I like Radium One and Foundy. Those two are good. Radium One is more for high budget, so that would be for your majors. Foundy is more DIY, found.ee. But YouTube is one that everyone can use without using a third party. And that's a really cool one, in my opinion, because you can actually start creating a retargeting list or remarketing list on YouTube, which tracks everyone that watches all of your music videos or some of your music videos, who have liked, commented, or shared some of your videos, who have subscribed to your channel or visited your channel, or I think that's most of it, or who've watched one of your past ads and haven't skipped it, so watch the entire ad. And you can create these lists and then use them later for advertising. So when your new music video comes out, you show an ad to the people who watched your old music video, right? That makes sense, right? That's very smart marketing. So that's a great way of doing some retargeting. Now, let's talk about some of the advanced features specific to Facebook. So I talked about emails not being dead, and emails are not dead because click-through rates are the highest on emails than anything on social media, so please don't underestimate how important it is to still have a mailing list. Why do 90% of websites, artist websites, don't have mailing list signups anymore blows my mind. You need to have that on the website. And the other reason why you need to have emails is because you can use them in online advertising as well. So if you have a very good mailing list, you can, or even an average mailing list, you can upload it to Facebook custom audiences. And there, what it will do is when you upload the emails, it will look for the people on Facebook. If they have a matching email on Facebook than they do to the one they signed up, they'll find them on Facebook. Then you can use that to advertise. So you can say mailing list for band A, and then you can do three things. Either you can say, my email list is rocking, I have a high open rate, I'm not going to pay to reach them on Facebook because I can just reach them on email for free, so I'll exclude them whenever I do targeting. I'll say people who like my page excluding my mailing list. Or I'll say, hey, my mailing list is really quite bad. The open rate's super poor, but I know these people like me because they gave me their email address, so I'll just hit them up on Facebook because they're interested. Or you can do a combination of whatever you like, right? So that's how you may want to do it. So it's really, really smart to try and advertise to people on your email address or not to advertise. Now, on top of that, they've said that's not enough, let's do lookalike audiences. So lookalike audiences is when you take your email list, your custom audience, and you tell Facebook, look for people who are similar to people who are on my email list, because these people really like me, so can you please look for some people who are similar? And they just go and look for similar Facebook people. And then you can use that lookalike audience to advertise to them. Right, so it's a great way of trying to get new fans if you've got a really strong mailing list. Now, I tend to think that this works better for like indie bands than like big pop acts, because you'll find that pop acts, people's Facebook movements are a bit, you want to look for niche audiences, not like you've got an audience that's a bit of a mixed bag. Like the more niche your audience is, the better this works because you've got more similar traits. You can also say, I want to find people who look like people who visit my website. So this is when you use retargeting. You're tracking people who are going to your website. You're already advertising to them, but you also want to advertise to people who are similar to the people who visit your website, or people who are similar to use your mobile app, which is not very exciting, but also people who are similar to people who really like your page. So you can say to them, find more people that are similar to people who like my page, and I want to advertise to them. Now, all of this has to be country specific, so you've got to do it country by country. So that's a bit annoying, but normally I just like kind of look at my top 5 countries, and then I just do those. Or cities as well. I think you can do per city. Yeah, I think it's per city. No, it's per country. I lied. Per country. So that's a very smart way. Now, this is the stuff where I'm telling you should be A/B testing it, right? So you A/B test a lookalike audience versus people who like a similar artist, or you A/B test your custom audience to your non-custom. What happens if you include it? What happens if you exclude it? This is the stuff you should be A/B testing because it's advanced features and you don't really know what's going to happen until you do it. Now, what about Twitter? So we talked about the Twitter cards. I wanted to go some detail into it. So Twitter cards, you can either create them while you're creating your advertising, or you can actually create them for free, which is the stuff that they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know you can create them for free because they're really quite cool and they want you to pay for them. But if you put your credit card in the back of Twitter's advertising platform, you don't have to spend a cent, you just put your credit card in, it will start to, there's a new thing that appears that's called creatives or something like that, and then there it says cards. So cards can be created and actually just tweeted out like a normal tweet, or you can use them in advertising. You should definitely use them in advertising, but you should also tweet them out for free. So I talked about this before, but just a recap. You can create a lead generation card, so you can add a picture, a little description, and a call to action. And when people see it, that's what they'll see. They'll see their username and their email, and if they click on it, they send you your email address. You can also create a website card, which is great. Whenever you've got links to share, you should have a picture, a little description, and a call to action, and that you still have 140 characters. Look how much space you've got. That's loads of free space, man. That's like golden on Twitter. Look how big that tweet is. Versus like, click on the link and then blue link, blah, right? That's like amazing compared to that. That's a huge improvement. And then there's also the cards for apps, but these are less sexy because not a lot of people are using apps. But yes, you can also get app installs using Twitter cards, which is much better than just sending out the link of your app. If you are very computer savvy or program HTML savvy, there's a whole bunch more cards you can create, but there you need to know what you're doing with coding, so I'm not going to cover that. Twitter also has custom audiences, but they call them tailored audiences, so it's the same thing. You upload people's email addresses. By the way, you can also upload phone numbers if you have them instead. And then they will find them on Twitter, and then you can advertise to them, either include them or exclude them in your advertising. And they also have lookalike audiences, but theirs is less fancy. It's just a lookalike based on your mailing list already that you've created. The last thing about Twitter advertising that I really like is the fact that they can do television advertising. Now, Twitter's a bit of a small dog, poor baby. It's really quite, trying to fight strongly in third place. But it's got something that sets it apart in this TV section. So if you are going to be on TV, again, It's an amazing moment. You're jumping up and down. We're going to have a sync on a really big show. And then you're like, woo, well, let's hope people Shazam. No, right? How can we make the most out of every moment? So here, you can actually target people who are watching a show on a specific date and who are tweeting about it or who are searching about the show and hit them up. So that's what I did with one of my bands. They were having they were on Made in Chelsea. We got a sync, so we made sure that everybody that was watching the show and that was tweeting or searching about the show at the same time on Twitter, we hit them up with an ad so that they could click on it, right? If you're going to pay for advertising on TV, make it clickable. The kids are going to watch it, and then 5 seconds later, they're going to forget about your ad. So if you're investing in TV advertising, make it clickable by partnering it up with a Twitter advertising, because you know it's going to be on this show at that time. So make it clickable by the same people who are tweeting and watching. They're going to be able to click on that link, right? So this is the one thing that I'm very excited about, because I can say I found them, but I didn't really, but I kind of did. So I talked about links that work on, you click on them and they break and it drives me mad. The only problem is that with streaming, we don't know who's a Spotify user, who's a WIMP/Tidal user, who's a, I don't know, a Beats, well, they're not really existing right now, but you know, we don't know what type of music consumption you have. And the problem with advertising these days is that we shouldn't say, buy my album, here's an iTunes link, that's if you're a valuable fan. We should just say, I got a song out, I got an album out, please just listen to it. Like, I don't care how you do it, I just want you to listen to it. Because that's where we're at the moment, right? It's just, here is it, do with it whatever you want, as long as you're listening to it, that's a good thing. That's how we should be advertising. But it's quite hard to do that with one link, because we don't have one link for all of that. So here comes Linkfire, tiny little startup in Copenhagen. And they're kind of like Smart URL. I don't know how many of you are using Smart URL, but it's better than Smart URL because it actually puts in your streaming links and your buy links and your merch link and your physical links all in one place. So what you do is you give them one link and then they find all of the matching links for you across the world in like maybe 30 seconds. And then they populate it all for you, and it's also specific to a country. So you can have links, one link look different depending on which country you click on with every single partner you might want, plus some more that you can manually add. So if you want to add physical manual links, you can as well. They don't look those up automatically, but they do look up all online digital stores and all online digital streaming platforms for you and give you one link, which you can then customize as well. So they're kind of half in beta, half not. If you want to sign up, just sign up on the website on Linkfire and give my name, and you should be fine to get a beta test run. They are really quite exciting. The backend looks like this, so you can you can decide the order of the platforms, which ones you want to be shown, which ones you don't want to be shown, what the picture must be, and blah blah blah. I mean, they're just brilliant because with one link you can actually advertise to everyone. You can just say, listen to my album, whatever you want, here it is, right? So they're really quite a fun one to play around with. So you can check that out. It's free for the basic version, and then you pay if you want to use retargeting and affiliate links and cool. I think they also do more analytics if you pay, I think. Okay, so let's put that all together. I've got 5 minutes. How do we do an advertising campaign? Now we've got this new artist coming out. So how do we put it all together? First of all, Google yourself. If you're not coming at the top, change your name because your name's bad. That's pretty much what I would say. If you have a Swedish name and you have funky letters, I know this is rude, but funky letters in it, please change your name. I'm being serious. If you ever want to be an international artist, it's going to be a pain. If Jay-Z drops the hash, the dash, because he can't handle metadata being correct, you cannot handle a funky letter that no one has on their keyboard, right? I promise you, I'm a manager of artists. The funny names, they drive you crazy. People misspell them, they're wrong. You've got 3 versions of you on Spotify. Every PR guy is going to mess it up. Just just don't put yourself through it. Just change your name so that you can get to the top of Google without having to pay for it, and that it's easy to find. Normally one name is fine, but it's better if there's 2 words and they're kind of different, right? So if you're calling yourself boys, that's going to be hard to find. So that's important. Then if you get that right, you don't need to pay for search. So forget about search. Then you need to figure out what you sound like. So I know you think you sound like Radiohead, but so does everybody else, and no one really does. So you need to find who you sound like, so that when you're doing advertising, this is like your basic retargeting. Your basic targeting is always going to be target people who like similar artists. That's kind of the thing you're going to A/B test against. So always know what that is, so that when you're doing advertising, that's a good place to start when you're looking for new fans. Now, there's a very cool new platform on Facebook that's just been launched, and it's called Facebook Audience Insights. It's in your Facebook advertising manager section on the right-hand side below. Create an ad. There's like Facebook Advert Manager, I think. And it's called Audience Insights, and you can actually go in and see. So I'm looking at people who are connected to crocodiles and seeing what other pages they like. So Dum Dum Girls, Dive, Beach Fossil, and all this stuff. So I can know to use those bands when I'm targeting. So you can actually see where they're living, what's the demographic versus the average norm, what do they like, and you can use this information to target advertising on the platform. So I did this. I tested using this information in targeting versus doing a lookalike audiences of people who liked my page. And I got slightly different results, so that is quite a good one to kind of A/B test. Then the next thing to do is to only advertise behind cool content, right? Let's not waste money behind the picture of the cat. I know the cat's cute, but it's not going to get you anywhere, right? So what are we going to advertise behind? Number 1, obviously a new music video. That's like your golden moment for advertising. If you have a new music video, put aside some money to advertise, because that is the best thing you could advertise behind, because it's going to make people who like you some more, hopefully, otherwise change the video. And it's going to get new people to possibly know about you. That's the place where they enter music videos, right? That's when you get new fans, or concerts, obviously, but this is really important. So you're launching a music video. What do? Well, you can do a post engagement to push out to people. If not everyone saw the post, then you want to push it out to the rest of the people who like your page, because they'll definitely care about a new video. Then you're going to do a website click, because you want people who don't know your page to see it. But actually here, I wouldn't do a website click. I'd probably do a Facebook video with a 20-second version of the video that pushes out to the YouTube video in my Watch More section. So I probably would do Facebook video, not website clicks. But A/B test it and tell me what your results are. Email me. And then I would do a video advert on Google based on retargeting on people who watched my videos in the past. Or I would do people, if I don't have a lot of fans and not a lot of people watched it, I would target people who watch similar artists on YouTube, or put it on top of videos that are similar. And then I would do a Twitter tweet engagement by pushing out the tweet once I've tweeted it. So those are the things I do for a video. Now here's an inspirational examples when it comes to retargeting. I'm nearly done, I know I'm 1 minute. But this is a great one from Gabrielle APLIN, when she actually said, let's do retargeting in a way that is smart. So she started creating these retargeting, or her team created 2 retargeting lists. One with people who watched her biggest video, and one with her super fans who watched every single one of her videos and also liked, comment, shared, blah, all over there, right? She knew those guys need to be spoken to differently than the average newcomer guys. So when she had the new music video come out, the average fans, or the lukewarm fans, just got the next video saying, cool, the new video's out, or the album's out, check it out. And then the very cool super fans got a message of Gabrielle speaking in the camera saying, hey guys, I know you're my super fans, so here, I got you an 18-minute secret sampler that only you can listen to. And then also there's this video that's coming out, and also my album's coming out. The fans freaked out. Because what? This is an ad of Gabrielle speaking to me, and she knows I'm a super fan. Are you kidding me? This is like the best day of my life. She actually knows I've watched every single one of her videos. This is so cool. This is how you shift from annoying retargeting to super cool retargeting, right? So just think about it. Advertising is not about trying to massively annoy everyone. It's about trying to react to different levels of fandom and appropriately communicating with them to try push them along the big journey that is getting everyone to a super fan. Then, Mailing list signups, Facebook plugins, I kind of pulled it out because, well, you can have one anyway, but the apps are kind of dead. You remember those blocks on the top, they're on the side, no one clicks on them. You can have a plugin if you like, but it's not going to get you much. Facebook post engagement, so you either push out, say, hey, sign up to my mailing list, and then you have a link that goes to a website that is only for signing up, not to your actual website that has the sign up thing somewhere, but just to a site that says sign up, because if you push them to your website, they're going to get distracted and do something else and forget, right? Or a video that says, hey guys, sign up because we're going to give you some stuff, and then people react to it and then sign up. Or you do a website conversion, so you actually track how many people are signing up, and then a Facebook offer. Now this doesn't get you their email address, but if you tell them, here's 20% off on my shop, and they buy stuff on your shop, then you have their email address because they bought stuff, and therefore you have their email. Or you do a Twitter lead generation card where you ask them to sign up by just clicking on one button that looks like this, in case you forgot what it looks like. And then last two, album launch. So you are going to either do post engagement, so you tell everyone the album is out, and then you push it out to everyone who likes your page, or you do a video with the album is out today, and then you push it out, or you do a website conversion, where you push people to actually buy it if you're selling it online, and you're tracking it, or you do remarketing on YouTube, so everyone that watched a lot of your videos in the past will want to know the album is coming out, or you do hashtags and promoted tweets on Twitter. Last one. Ticket sales. So you're going on tour, and you can either push people to go and respond on Facebook that they're going if it's a free ticket. If it's a paid ticket, I push them up to website clicks or conversions if you're selling it on your website. Then you would do a Facebook video to tell people about the show, and then of course mailing list, mailing list, mailing list, mailing list. That's how you're going to sell tickets. Now, last example of today, this is a nice one. Iwani Sigoma band was going on tour with Atoms for Peace, and so they targeted everyone who was in the cities they were going to who liked Atoms for Peace and said, guys, we know you're going for Atoms for Peace. We know you don't really care about us, but just watch our biggest music video because we're going to be playing before. It'd be nice if you could share our favorite song. That's how you advertise. Be human. Right? That did really, really well because guess what? They were acting like they put themselves on the other side, right? Stop being like, I would never like this on Facebook myself, but here, have some of this advertising that's lame, right? Just, you'd be surprised when you change your tone to like a human tone, how much your click-through rates doubles. So just think about an easy way to do it. Let's finish with the final slide. Top quality ad, because if your ad doesn't look good, then you're wasting money. Don't push out an ad that no one would click on. Top quality website, if it doesn't work on a mobile, then don't give it to me. And the same thing with links, etc. Length of the ads. If you're on Facebook, it can't last longer than 2 or 3 days. Same for Twitter. Targeting using advanced options. Try out all of the new stuff I showed you today. A/B test it. Email me. Tell me which one worked, which one didn't work. I'd love to hear from you guys. Then test, analyze, start again. You don't know until you try. You just don't know. So you got to try, and then you got to let me know. And then tie everything together and have some fun. Thank you very much.